Thanks for staying with us. It's time to go to the press and lift from off the press what the headlines are. And this morning we're being joined by Tunde Kolawole, a legal practitioner. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Kolawole.
Good morning, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Mr. Kolawole, it will soon be Valentine's. Did you hear me?
No, take that again.
Well, it wasn't a question. I was just saying it will soon be Valentine's.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's an opportunity to take the love and show them love.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Please be reminded, don't give flour to a Nigerian woman. They'll ask you, I know they chop vegetable. Give them money.
No, they prefer dollars and pasta.
Yes. Okay, let's go to the business of the day. We're starting with the business NG this morning. And we're seeing here, the leading headline on the business NG is CBN, FIRS, others ignore Senate summons. Lawmakers seek presidential intervention. Okay, they have been invited to come and explain some of the things that are happening in their MDAs. NNPCL, CBN, FIRS, and others are not going. They're not showing up. I'm wondering what the powers of the Senate or the National Assembly are to make sure these people are brought to do what they're supposed to do. They've threatened fire and brimstone that if they don't appear, some of them have been summoned for more than 5 times and they fail to appear. If they don't appear the next time, they are going to have a warrant of arrest for them. They're going to talk to the president to relieve them of their appointments and all that. Do they have that kind of power? And if they do, why are they not exercising it all this while?
Well, honestly speaking, each time I hear or read that the National Assembly or the Houses of Assembly in the respective states invite any government organ or agencies or parastatals to appear before it, and then they refuse to appear, I feel sad and terrible. If these people understand the tenets of democracy, they will realize that the Houses of Assembly and then the National Assembly are the most powerful organ of the Nigerian state. The National Assembly is more powerful than the President. In fact, the President is devoted only to the National Assembly. You also find out that the State House of Assembly are the most powerful organs in the state. When you go to the local government, they have their own councillors, forum and what have you. The chairman of the local government has been holding to them. Whatever those people say and know that we are bound to appear before them. I give you an example. The National Assembly, for example, can impeach the president if they find that he has engaged in any gross misconduct. So also, it happens it could happen at the state level, at the local government level. So if they have such power, how would the mere parastatal or a ministry of government refuse to appear before them when they are summoned to appear before them? When you know that the ground norm, the most powerful organ of the state, is the National Assembly. I think it stems from this misunderstanding of the democracy and where the powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria also lies. The second issue is that I think the executive arm of government always condone these people when they refuse to appear before the National Assembly when they are summoned, because they know that the National Assembly does not have the coercive power to really effect or to enforce whatever summons or orders that they give. They have to pass through the executive arm of government, that is the police, the EFCC and water, and via the presidency before any of their summons or any of their warrant of arrest and all that could be effected or implemented. And so people take advantage of this. So if the National Assembly is being derided, if they are being ridiculed, if their summons are not being obeyed and all that, the blame should lay squarely at the doorstep of the executive arm of government. I remember too many times, the Inspector General of Police will be summoned, the Chief of Army Staff will be summoned, the Director of Customs will be summoned and all that. And none of them will just ignore all these organs of the National Assembly simply because they know that they don't have the coercive power and simply because they know the executive arm of government would indulge them. And why should the executive arm of government indulge them? Most of the malfeasances, most of the things that the National Assembly is inviting these people to come and clarify or explain were actually infractions committed by the executive arm of government. So because of that, they will normally shield these agencies of government from appearing before the National Assembly. Also recollect that eminent lawyer, Kemi Falana, once said that Nigeria don't require to borrow any money from external bodies or anywhere. There are so many oil companies in Nigeria today and so many banks that have collected money on behalf of government that have not remitted this money to the coffers of the government. And I think the federal government and others could find a way to collect this money. It would have pushing the financial capacity that the current that the nation especially faces. Let me use this analogy that I used to use, which I think is very basic. If the National Assembly to take decide and pass a law that all men in Nigeria will be called women, and it is passed into law, the president signs it, or if the president does not sign it, they override the president. All men in Nigeria will be called women all over the world. And if it is the other way, that if they say all women should be called men in Nigeria, and the National Assembly all passes such a law and order, that is the way it is going to be. That tells you the enormity of the power of the National Assembly, which people should not try roughshod over. But like I said, if they are disregarded, the blame should lay squarely on the federal arm of government. And I also want to say, people should not push the National Assembly, people should not push the Federal Assembly, people should not push the local government parliamentarians into establishing their own police to really carry out whatever, make arrests, effect prosecutions and all that. Because if that is if they are pushed to do that and all that, they might be having too many agencies working as cross purposes and all that, which will eventually lead to clashes in the law enforcement in the country.
Well, my people say when a small child challenges you early in the morning, know that the father may be hiding somewhere because, you know, and in this case, like you said, the father is the executive, our president. If he doesn't have that support for them, then these people should be quaking whenever they are being invited. But that's not the case here. Well,
exactly.
Let's move to another headline here, still on the business NG. We have this headline, top right corner, Tinubu signs North Central Development Commission bill into law. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing when these things are done, but I just ask myself, if we have these commissions, Niger Delta, Southeast, North Central, Northeast, Northwest, and all that, all the geopolitical zones, what are the ministries doing in the first place? If we have these commissions for the development of these various ministries, what is the need for the various zones? I beg your pardon. What's the need for the ministries, and why are we even still making the ministries bigger and just increasing the cost of governance, so to speak?
You have hit the nail on the head. We started with the Niger Delta Development Commission, which at that time was very, very important, which at that time was very necessary to address the peculiar challenges and problems that were facing the Niger Delta. The place was generating the bulk of the revenue for the Federation, which the Federation depended on. But there were no developments in those places. There were also very serious of oil spillages, pollution here and there. People unable to farm, people unable to fish. The environment being heated or the environment becoming unlovable because of gas clearing and the burning. There was also mass pipeline vandalization, which for me was a protest against the degradation of the environment and the neglect of the Niger Delta people. That was why that commission was set up, to remediate the peculiar challenge and problem that were being faced in the Niger Delta. But you see in Nigeria, one section of the country is given an opportunity to do something. Others see it as a mere opportunity to share or partake in the national cake one way or the other. And so everybody began to agitate that that the commission should be established for the outreach or two. And so when the Boko Haram insurgency began and war of you, we have set up the Northeast Development Commission, whereas we forgot that the Boko Haram insurgency was a self-inflicted a problem generated or caused by people of that region themselves, but the whole country has had to be paying for that malfeasance of the Nigerian elite from the northeast section. So, like you said, these are not duplication of resources. We're spreading the resources very thinly, and then providing opportunities for ministries, parastatals, the executive, the legislators, and others to start working at cross purposes and clashing with themselves as regards to implement those programs and how it's going to be implemented. So at the end of the day, Nigerian people, the so-called different regions who also have these development commissions and others, will be the worst for it. The best we could have had would have been something like the Southwest people did, who would have developed commission. Let the different regions, if they so wish, use their own resources, just like the EU, have their own respective commission, take a percentage of the annual national budget and the revenue that they are getting from the federal government, put it in the respective commission that they have established for their different regions, and use it to implement or to execute the special purposes projects and others to elevate their people. Say, for example, the Southwest, one would have expected, when the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway was having problems, one would have expected the so-called development of people and others who have some sort of alternative. Develop the Ikorodu to Shagamu and others. Turn it to a parallel highway to rival the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and others, so that people could have alternative. There's also nothing stopping, giving an example, the Southwest people from having their own railway line across the Southwest or metro line against the Southwest. So this development commission thing that has been done in all the different areas, at the end of the day, will never work. They will be poorly funded, and if they are funded, the funds will be diverted one way or the other to purposes for which they are not meant, and then we create further rivalries among the different development commission rivalries and others. It will just be a kind of opportunity or a table for the favored boys to come and chop.
I don't know why it's a competition in Nigeria. What you do for one person, you must do for me, even if I don't need it. If you put a flyover somewhere, you must put in my own community, even though we don't see more than 5 cars in the whole month.
Because we only bake the cake. I mean, we only share the cake in Nigeria perfectly. We don't bake it. If people are challenged, if people have the responsibility to bake their own cake, share it and eat it among themselves and others. That kind of very ugly rivalry that we see between the different states, between the different regions and warriors wouldn't happen there. I give you one example. Lagos State, for example, Ogun State, for example, some of the Southwest states require to have more judicial divisions, have more courts and order. But it's not easy for them to have more courts, because once they say they want to have more courts and order, regions that don't have many cases and that are not as busy legally as Lagos or any of the Niger Delta states are. We also say they want to have more judicial division, simply because the more judicial division you have, the more allocation you also get from the National Judicial Council and the Federal Ministry of Justice and others. So these are the kind of rivalry that we see in those different places. Just like I said, we don't bake the cake, we merely share it.
Well, let's go buy the flour. Okay, now let's move to the Punch newspaper here this morning. The Punch newspaper is saying marketers will dump NNPCL as price war, or may dump rather, NNPCL as price war with Dangote rages. Dealers adopt MRS logo to access cheaper Dangote petrol. Consider NNPCL franchise suspension. I really don't understand what is going there. This monopoly is coming as we feared. And now they are making it look like, okay, it's because Dangote is a little bit better than the federal government. How can that be possible, that a whole country cannot cater to the needs of its people and an individual will be the one who looks like he's doing something better? I do not understand.
Wait, that is the tragedy of capitalism. A winner takes all. Rather than pursue or create a welfare state in which everybody will be his brother's keepers and other, Nigeria is running at next speed to adopt or to embrace capitalism wholeheartedly, forgetting that when you do that, you abandon the welfare of majority of the people. Just yesterday, as I was reading some literatures and others, and they say more homeless people in France are dying because they sleep in the streets and then they slow the vagaries of the weather for mail them over there. They have nowhere to take their bath. They cannot eat decent meals and all that. And so there is now agitation for France to begin to invest more on public housing scheme so that these homeless people will not be longer be sleeping on the street and dying like flies as they are dying. That is the road to which Nigeria is pursuing. Rather than pursue a welfare state like our forefathers did immediately we got independence. So what is going to happen now? There is going to be a price war, and then you find out a situation will arise in which after Dangote has dominated the market, after he has captured the entire market, and probably knock NNPC out of competition, any other oil production supply company out of competition. Then it now begins to dictate whatever prices it wants to sell its petroleum products. Just as we had at the time with the cement that some of these monopolies were producing. The fallacy has been proven that, you see, private sector-driven economy don't necessarily perform better than the public sector-driven economy. And China is a very good example. The commanding height of the Chinese economy is in the hand of the state. And they are one of the most effective, one of the most competitive, one of the most aggressive and then the most innovative economy in the world today. Just last week, the Chinese people using very minimal resources compared to the billions of dollars and huge energy consumption that America has used to produce a GDP. They came with the DeepSeek, which uses a minimal energy and very little resources to get a better result compared to what the capitalist America is doing. So these are proven track records. These are examples. These are very good concrete evidence that state-driven economy are not necessarily less effective or more productive than the capitalist economy. But when you have people who have a capitalist mindset in charge of the state, in charge of the economy and all that is what you get. Now I was just reading that the new guidance has also been given to the DISCO as regards increase in charge of electricity. We are also told that the telcos are agitating that they want to increase their tariff. Of course, you know, GSTV and some of these other organizations have increased their tariffs manifold and all that. Invariably, you get a situation in Nigeria in which only the poverty becomes so grinding. Only the extremely rich people, the middle class are effectively wiped out. Only the extremely very rich people will be able to survive in this country, and the poorer people will just be left to die like flies as they are started to do. They cannot get electricity, they cannot buy crucial drugs to take care of their ailments. Their children will never get to attend very good schools because all the schools are also been privatized. But I would want to say that the Nigerian people require to rise up to this challenge of neoliberal economy that is never going to do them any good.
Okay, well, let's combine two headlines here. They're related, they're cousins. Federal government flags off tolling on federal highways, that's one, and federal government to take over incomplete Lagos-Ibadan Expressway sections by April. That's according to the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi. He said that the federal government is going to take over the incomplete sections of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And on the other hand, the other section that's on Vanguard newspaper, by the way. Federal government flags off tolling on federal highways. I'd like your thoughts on that.
The first comment I'd like to make is that that toll that they want to start collecting, that is another taxation, one way or the other. If you now have to use those roads and all that means you'll be paying taxes to use the roads. Roads that is built with your own money, with the taxpayers' money. That is the implication of that. Furthermore, you'll find out that that road has not been completely completed. There are still some sections of that road. There are places where there should be railing. There are places where there should be pedestrian crossings and all that. There are drainages that have still not been properly done. Yet, we want to start collecting tolls on those roads. But again, let us remind ourselves, there were tolls on that road before. Why was it removed? Why was it cancelled? Obasanjo removed it because the tolls were not yielding any money for the federal government. Rather, the money that was being made from those tolls was going to private pockets, who didn't build the road in the first place, but which the government, during the military, during Abacha, gave to their friends to start making profit and deriving benefit for those they didn't collect. I remember, I think the late Arishe Kola now was said to have had one. So Chiku was also giving a section of that token to collect their money. And I think General Abacha's policies also got some of those things. And a few other Nigerians I cannot remember. When Obasanjo got into power and saw what was happening, he felt angry that how could you be making, and he did it public, and found out that money was actually coming from those tokens, but they were not going to the pockets of the federal government. So in his usual characteristic manner, he just woke overnight and took bulldozer to those places and then removed all the tokens and all that. So what is the guarantee that if the tolls are reformed, they will again not be privatized and give it to their friends who will be collecting the tolls and making profit in there and will not be remitting anything to the federal government? Just as we have seen in the oil sector, in the banking sector, and some other areas of the national economy, until the federal government is able to assure us that the toll gate, when it is mounted, the money that is made from it is going to be plowed into the revenues of the country and used to develop more roads in the country. I think the Nigerian people should stand at it and say, you resist it and not that. Because look, our taxes were used to build those roads, and there is no reason why we shouldn't enjoy some form of benefit of that from what our money was made to build. Furthermore, that decision to put those on the gate cannot just be done whimsically like that. It's a very fundamental economic issue, which ought to be taken to the National Assembly and then a public debate or hearing organized around it, so that people can come forward and debate the merit and demerit of it and put forward solutions to how Nigeria could really make the best of toll gates if eventually they decided that the toll should be put back on that road. But as it is today, I'm not too sure that the federal government has a mechanism to ensure that the revenue that will be collected from the toll gate, when it's eventually mounted, will go into the revenue covers of the Nigerian state.
Okay. Let's take this one from the Nature News. And the headline here is saying U.S. exit, WHO's impending funding shortfall threatens global health programs. We've seen that Nigeria has voted some money for the continuation of the treatment of HIV/AIDS in Nigeria as a response to the impending withdrawal of the U.S. funding to the WHO and other world bodies and all that. So I'd like your comment on the readiness of Nigeria to survive without external aid coming from especially the U.S., which is like the largest funder of our Nigerian programs.
There is a huge lesson to learn from what is happening now, the steps and policies that Mr. Donald Trump has adopted. You see, when you turn yourself to a beggar, a barrier, or a defender, or a nonsense and all that, sooner than later, your host or benefactor will tell you to sit up and begin to fend for yourself and all that. For me, there is no reason whatsoever for Nigeria or any African country to depend on the World Health Organization or America for the treatment or for the well-being or for the health needs of its own citizens. It's a dereliction of duty when government, whether at the state or local government level or federal level, neglect or refuse to do the needful with regard to the health challenges of their citizens. Remember that the basic responsibility of government is to provide food security, health security, and water and economic well-being. These are fundamental. Go and read the constitution. So if you now prepare another country to do that for you, then you have sacked your responsibility, and there is no reason whatsoever or justification for you to remain in government. We have the men. If only we will do the needful, if only we will invest our resources and stop the bleedings that are taking place in the different places. When you spend 22 billion to build out for the vice president, if you have put that 22 billion, give it to pharmaceutical companies like MSOP and some of these local pharmaceutical companies to develop the AIDS drug for Nigerian AIDS patients and other people, diabetes people and co-women. Imagine the kind of multiplier effect of that kind of a thing. But we don't do that. We expect we go cup in hand, plate in hand, to start begging for some of these things and whatever. Furthermore, I think there's a lesson to be learned from this. The American people have done the right thing in my own estimation. And the deportation of Nigeria and other people, immigrants that they have begun to do, I will want to say I support it. Not because I'm a sadist, but I think it's going to make us sit up and challenge our leaders to make this environment more comfortable for us, so that we don't have to start going to other countries of the world to engage in second round of slavery, as we are doing today. If those people haven't developed their own countries and all that, where would we have been going to? I say it as it has number. Development in the countries are dependent on 2 or 3 things: visionary leadership, education, and then a very vigilant followership. If the citizens and the population don't put pressure on their government, if they are not vigilant, if they condone nonsense on their government and not, of course, the government will begin to play with them, will begin to party with them. They begin to do whatever they like and all that to their own detriment. So let everybody come, let them deport everybody. We'll bring Nigeria from wherever they need, let them come back home and now begin to challenge and face their leaders to do the needful, so that this country can develop. Otherwise, we will just be directing the same spot without the development. Let the World Health Organization withdraw their support.
All right.
Let Donald Trump.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
whoever you feel like a deported and all that, if we care is not taken, Africa and some Middle East may be recolonized by some world powers. Because they tell
we are being recolonized even now. We're being recolonized even now.
And administer you.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kolawole. We're being recolonized even now, but that's matter for another day. But we'd like to thank you for your thoughts this morning on Off the Press. As always, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, my brother.
Have a wonderful day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. As we wrap up on the Off the Press, we'd like to announce to you that if you read the Nature News, you'll find a headline there saying NIMET predicts delayed rainfall in northern states. And there are other predictions for all the states in Nigeria. So if you're a farmer especially, you need to go read about this. It may be also in other newspapers this morning, but find out what the rainfall is going to be like this year so that you can plan yourself well. It will not be a very good thing to plant your crops, for instance, and have all of them just swept away by the flood and all that. There's something about timing when you talk about agriculture. So find time to read up on the predictions from NIMET this morning. We'll take a pause now, and when we return, we'll take our first hot topic, which is about the spending of the federal government of 200 billion naira, allegedly, on electricity subsidy. That's according to Tinubu's aide. Stay with us.